the mindset, okay, one of them, mindset is what controls public speaking. It's the mindset, okay? Remember we talked about the 2% versus the 80%. The 80%, the 98% are the people that are fully in. Like there are people that are here and I know they are fully sold to this cause. I can count them. Some of you, I don't know you like too much that you are fully committed to this, but there are some of you that I know you are at the point of no return when it comes to people's transformation. Okay? Now, for you, you're not like kandabeje chigenda. For you, you're like chigende, tugenda, you know? Yeah, as in chintwala tugenda, chikumidewa Canada tugende. Chukumi, as in for you, you're like, I sold my soul to this. You can't tell me anything else. This is what I love doing. This is what I have done. You get it? So I am not figuring. While there are people who are like, let's see, these things of social media, they are changing people's lives. Like everything is, let's figure it out. That is why you will be like, can't take care of, you know? But a person who is not figuring it out, who is all in, they're like, even if I say good morning, I have said it, I have appeared. You get it? As in, I will do anything to make sure that I'm in this thing. So when it comes to, let's just go through the three of them very quickly. One is the mindset, okay? And the mindset harbors the attitude and the beliefs. Why did I put on high heels? I don't know. I wanted to stand up, but I have limited myself to look cute. Eh? But looking cute is limiting. It's very cutesy and very what? But not mindful. And not thoughtful. Because now I wanted to illustrate, but I can't illustrate, okay? Now, the attitude and the beliefs. The moment you have attitude, because so many of us, what fails us and what creeps in the fear so quickly is because we have the attitude of, is it going to make a difference? We are questioning, is it going to make a difference? Is what I'm going to say, is it going to make a difference? Is it even good, okay? Is it even important? Like there's so many people who are speaking, then why can't I leave all those many people to speak so that for me I can just stay insignificant? Of course we don't speak to ourselves like that, but our attitude is screaming those words, is busy saying those words. It's punching holes in whatever we are doing. Our beliefs also are not helping. Is it even possible? Do I even deserve to be the one speaking? There are people who are better than me. There are people who speak better English. There are people who have better grades, who went to school, who have more books than me. You see the beliefs? So now, the moment you stand here and you have nothing to think about, for example, if I invited my 4-year-old to come and stand here, and you told him, tell a story, he will tell a story of everything he owns in the house. You get it? But he doesn't care whether you like it or not. Do you love, will he ask you about, I'm going to tell them about toys. Maybe they're above the standard of toys. Maybe they're, so Ariel will not. He'll be like, guys, I have transport at home. I got a bicycle. From the main house to the kitchen, I ride my bicycle. He will tell you all those things. And then I fell down in the morning. And then for him, he will tell you his stories. Why? He doesn't mind whether they are your level, whether they are important to you or they are not important. Now, do you see the problem? I mean, the only thing that is helping him is he doesn't have beliefs twisted and attitudes twisted. His beliefs and attitudes are still fresh and authentic. I will show up the way I am, whether I am putting on my undies, njakukumba nzije. Mumpise, I have showed up, okay? But for us, when you see other people, you know, are dressed up and stuff like that, then your attitude starts. Everyone is dressed better than me. They're going to look at my dress and they're going to think it's cheap. Your mind is already twisted. So now, by the time you come here, you have already lost the momentum. And if you dared to even write paragraphs, you can no longer read. There you become short-sighted or long-sighted immediately. You look at your notes and you don't know whether to start from down or to start from up. Or whether you read from the left to the right or you read. So you're looking at your notes, but you also don't know. Now, you lose the capability of reading your own handwriting. You can't. Why? Your attitude, your beliefs are twisted. So you see, 98% is mindset. That's what governs. But the 2%, I like what I have to say is important. Have you ever felt that what you have to say is important? Yes. Do you know why I don't believe most of you? It's because most of you overthink what you're going to say and you end up not saying it. And the people who have less important things to say are the ones ababikubawo. Nabyogera nga naye kati teyandikyogedde bw'atyo. Naye nga wa omutima gwe gwogera naye emimwa gyagaanye dda giri stuck. You know, and then notandika okuba abantu obukokola naye omuwulidde engeri kyayo je kati kikola makulu ki ekyago kikola makulu ki naye agamba gwe kyogere. Then nante zabadde alina kyagamba shoka naawe nze mbadde sina kyeŋŋamba alimba. Kati bwe mba ntudde naawe woddamu okunkuba akakokola nga nange nkakukuba nga mbadde leave me to concentrate. Oba mmalira budde. Bw'oba olina ekyokwogera kyogere. Bw'oba tolina kyakwogera sirika. Sit and be cute. Instead of disturbing me. Omuwulidde. Simuwulidde. Hey. So the attitude of the 2% are like, guys, this is going to help. Have you ever heard someone say things that have been said a million times? Like everyone has said it left, right, and center. Chagwamu supu. Naye najja n'akyogera with a level of excitement. Nga yawulira kya mugaso nnyo. Mukimanyi nti namwe mukitwala nga kya mugaso. Kubanga yakitutte nga kya mugaso. So most of the 2% they believe, I can help. I have what to say. I have solutions. I have an answer. And sometimes when they ask that, you know, we have given this statement, please give us your interpretation. Sometimes you even have something totally different from everyone else. And it's so helpful. So those 2%, they actually believe that their mindset and their beliefs work for them instead of against them. Right? Okay? Number 2 is the method. When it comes to public speaking. Because there has to be an approach or a method. If you are going to deliver points, for example, okay? When you gain the expertise, you will not per se follow a certain method. But while you are still building your confidence and building your capabilities, your speaking capabilities, you have to have a certain approach. For example, if I'm going to speak, that means if I'm going to introduce myself, then I will have the body and then I will have the conclusion. That is a structure of some sorts. But again, if I'm going to have, let me just give an example. Why don't I have this? Where is Derek? I can still do this while seated. Derek must be out, okay? So if I have the introduction, the structure, I don't even know where he put the markers, the body and then the conclusion. Now when I come to the body, that means I should be very understandable and make sense, right? So if I'm trying to make sense, that means I have to have a point, okay? Number 2, I have to have an example, okay? And number 3, I have to have application. How do people apply this? Because remember, we're not just speaking for the sake of speaking, okay? So in case we are looking for structure, because number 1, we said it's the mindset. And this is public speaking. For those, I don't want to write full words, but let's just say, this is why they took it out. It no longer rubs. Okay. Public speaking, we'll just figure it like that. Okay, so mindset, we've said there is the 98 and then there is the 2%, okay? But here we said it's really beliefs, okay? And then we said that it's about the attitude. Sorry? It's? Oh. Okay. I didn't know that. Attitude, right? Okay? These are the first. So now we have the method. When it comes to the method, just let's say you have your intro, you have the body, and then you have the outro. Okay? Now, when it comes to the body, that means there is you being able to, now, at this level, we have gone through the preparation, because we will talk about the preparation. Some of you have gone through the preparation. How do you prepare? Say, for example, let me just give a random example. Someone has given you, give me a topic to talk about. Love languages, okay? Someone has invited you, kiri, 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 you have picked the phone, and they're like, you know what? We are inviting you to come and talk about love languages, okay? What is the number one thing you will do? Sorry? No, 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 no. Before you even get to this, before you get to the speaking, what will you do? Sorry? Prepare, okay? How do you prepare? You do research. Okay, so how do you do research? Because research also has a criteria. Because there is you going and saying, love languages, right? And there is you, because the people that you're going to talk to are people that already know love languages. Or it's something that they can Google. So what are you giving us that is different, okay? That means you must be able to look at how many people have written about love languages, what is the approach of everyone, can I be able to put it together, you get it? And then, can you sit down with your own pen and understanding, and before you even Google anything, and ask yourself, how do I know what I have been taught, before I even Google, okay? So sit with yourself with a pen, with a free mind, and start writing, free flow. Because then you don't want to adopt other people's understanding of this before you even understand what you understand about it. Because the moment you understand, even if love languages, you write like 2 and you miss like two of them, or you write like 3 and miss like 3, but you will say, how does this affect relationships? And then you're like, okay, there's going to be conflicts. There is going to be, we are talking about the topic that she gave us, okay? Now you have written maybe 2 of them that you remember. You've written maybe touch, and maybe you've written quality time, or words of affirmation. You have forgotten the other 2. You skip them. You're like, okay, how do they affect relationships? You're like, now you see how they didn't give you those questions, but you're putting together a whole meal, a buffet for people that are going to listen, that even one that has PhD in love languages will have something to learn that day. And then one that has never heard about love languages has something to learn that day. So now you ask, how do they affect? And then you go back and visualize, and you're like, I know of a couple where one is words of affirmation, and then another one is acts of service. That means there is a feeling of being unappreciated. The one of acts of service feels like, ona yogera, nebi ayogera tabiteka munkola. Ate, ono wa acts of service agamba omusajja akola nnyo bingi naye ate nze kyenjagala abingambe naye ate tabingamba. You get it? So that means there is misinterpretation of intentions. There is lack of appreciation, feeling unappreciated. That means it can escalate into conflicts. You get it? And then some people can think that they are not compatible. Yeah? So now, you see, you're getting them from your head. Chances are, someone has never written them the way you have written them down. Or someone has ever written them, you're just going to add to that list, but you already... Do you know how sweet it is to present information coming from you, from the inside of you? That you are the rivers of the living waters. That you didn't just go, cram and deliver. Because when you cram and deliver, kakutande werabireko emu. What are they called? Cram work. But we used to do those pointers in summaries. You do a summary, and there is where we will make mental notes of which corner of the book that summary is in. And then you start, and then you forget one of them. You forget them. Okay? But again, even when you are speaking head knowledge, we can see you. Because now, when we talked about this, we said you have a point, okay? You have an example, and then you have application. Right? And in application or example, that is where a story can come in. So that means you have fully understood and you have prepared that according to this point of feeling unappreciated, okay, in the marriage, I am going to use an example of a couple. I might not mention the names, but I will mention a couple that had two differing love languages, and then they didn't feel appreciated at all. So if someone did not, number one, they didn't know the love language, or the point, you talked about the point, but the point was far-fetched. When you give an example or a story to accompany it, it's now clarified. Now I can understand. Actually, it's possible I will remember the story and I will never remember the point that you gave me. But the story will carry a lot more meaning. And then, how do I apply it in my life? Don't leave me hanging. Because some of us are like, you know, you will feel appreciated. Debate. We are talking about transformation. So like, I want you to look at your own life. Okay? It's possible that, and maybe you can even ask, and that is where authority comes. You can ask one member of the people that you're talking to, and you're like, what's your love language? And you're like, I am words of affirmation. Do you have a spouse? Yes. What's their love language? And then they're like, quality time. And then you're like, okay, so how do you avoid the scenario of being unappreciated? That means both of you have to take the liberty and the responsibility to learn the other's language. The moment I know the other one speaks Chinese, even if I speak Luganda, they will not understand. I will try to greet in Chinese, at least, so that they know I have made an effort. That means there is effort that is needed from your side to understand words of affirmation, that when he does all these things, he actually means that he loves you. He might not say it. But again, when we take the one of words of affirmation, of acts of service, that if your wife comes every time and says, oh honey, I love you, oh honey, I love you, that's their way, the best way they can communicate love. So can you meet in the middle? So now the people are going to leave that place thinking, so who is my husband exactly? I think this is there. So now, how many marriages in that room have you helped? Application. Okay, you didn't leave them hanging to show them, oh, I am this professor who studied what? Love languages, but so now I will come and just recite them. There is words of affirmation, there is quality time, there is, you know, all these things, physical touch, and then I will leave you hanging. So figure it out yourself. All right? What we want is transformation, that someone will take that word, put them to use in their own lives, and something will change about them. Now, that goes into the methodology, that goes into the structure of what we are going to talk about, okay? Yes. Some of us will want to even understand what love languages are. Some people will even explain or even define what love languages are, okay? But sometimes you don't even need to define it. A story is enough to tell, you know. It can be about yourself. That is why if you detach yourself from what you're saying, half the time, no one is going to understand you, because you can't be an angel. And your examples should not be just the good ones, and you leave out the bad ones. Public speaking demands that you are vulnerable enough to acknowledge when things were bad. For example, you can say, this is who I was. About love languages, this is how they affected me. But ever since I got to know about them, now I know love. When I see love, I understand how my partner communicates to me. That means you have internalized it and you're not detaching from what you are speaking. So when you come to the outro, definitely this is straight call to action. Okay? Yes. Try this in your life, you know? And if you find someone that needs help, you can as well help them. If you have some notes to give them, whatever it is, the outro. And the outro, we should never miss the fact that we should be able to actually still affirm ourselves in their minds, to understand that they know who we are, they know our social media platforms, they know how to get us, and sometimes even the number, in case you need further help. So wherever you've gone to speak, whether you have a PowerPoint or you don't have a PowerPoint, at least you recite, or you talk about the books that you have written, or you talk about the YouTube that you have. What you want to tell them is, we can engage further than this. Should you need me, I'll be available. Let me know. I can be able to help you. Okay? I know so many of us are very shy. And this is what happens at the level of mindset. Some of us, the attitude, you come to start to speak and you're like, Chigwadi. You know, how fast can it? That is why someone will come and and you're like, nayo yogedde biki naye nga awulira ayagala ettaka limumire awulira ebigambo alina bingi nnyo ate abantu by the way togamba nga muntu we, but for you you're confident you can be a public speaker. They can be confident emabega eyo bebafumita abantu bebalina comments bebalina ki, but muleete wano ngatandika kuzina mazina ngatandika you know. Yeah, so beliefs, attitudes, and then let's have the methodology and the structure of how we actually do this. Okay, number 3, motivation. What pushes you to do this? Because chances are, if you don't have any pushing factor that is bigger than you, you will never be motivated to do this. Public speaking is not for the faint-hearted, no? Is for the people that have understood that nino mulama gwendiko, okay? So my why, what drives me? Why am I ambitious? What is my purpose in this? And for most people is to help another person. If another person's eyes can be opened, if they can understand, if I can drive transformation, okay? If someone can live a better life because I appeared and said something, let it be so. Now, these days people want quick money. This generation of the Gen Zs and Generation Alpha, like I start today, tomorrow I need money. Some of us, we started this not knowing that we are going to make money. Yeah, for us it was about purpose. Chase purpose, help people. So these days someone is invited for a TV interview and they're like, how much are you paying me? It's working in your favor. It's visibility. You need to impact more people. The more people you impact, the more money you are able to earn. But if less people know you and you are protecting the best kept secret ever, you are the best kept secret. You're like, sasula yeka, gwe nkolachi, gwe sharinga na ye chirabo change. That means it will never grow. It will, that means you have to be able as a public speaker to even speak for free so many times. Appear and speak. But the more you speak, the more authority. The more you become, you know, fluent. The more the authority that you have. The more, you know, boldness that you have. And so you're able to actually do a lot more. By the time you are asking for us to pay money, to come to your mastermind, to come to your group coaching, make sure that you are so good. Otherwise, don't call us to your mastermind when you're just figuring things out. Because I don't want to figure myself out while I also have someone who is figuring themselves out leading me. Right? I want someone who has reached somewhere. In the level of them, they are figuring themselves out. Because at every level, everyone is figuring themselves out. But there are different levels of figuring ourselves out. Okay? So now the motivation, you have the push. Okay? Number 1 is the power under the motivation. Okay? Motivation, we have the power. We have the push, and then we have the purpose. So ask yourself, wawenzija amaanyi gange? Some of us had what we call the chirui, the wrath of, as in, you invite me to talk about relationships, I want to assure some people to stay in their lanes. You get it? Like anyone would ask, but where do you get the authority? As in, I do, even up to now, I don't want anyone suffering in a relationship. You become someone is disrespecting another. Like, who are you to disrespect another human being? If you don't like them, leave them alone. You get, I can't figure out how people's brains work. Up to now, I have failed to understand. But for me, that was power. Okay? That I didn't want anyone to suffer in a relationship up to now. When I talk to people, as in, I will pour my heart out. I will even go beyond the time that I am supposed, because I need to know that we are on the same page. Okay? That is how bad it is. Okay? So, the power, where do you get the constant? But, you're on the go all the time. That is where I derive my power. The push. Okay? That is your why. Why are you doing this? Okay? For me, I am serving God. I am serving humanity. I want people to live happy lives. I want them to thrive. I want them to flourish. I want them to live according to the plans of God. Okay? And the plans of God are that I came that you will have life and life in its abundance. So if I see there is a lack of abundance in your life, kukanika. If I see the pie chart is not fitting properly, there is a kapapajo akataliko. In my heart, I am looking for it. Where is it? Sometimes the owner of the pie chart does not know that the kapapajo is missing. Oh, they are okay with the kapapajo missing. And in my heart of hearts, I'm like, no. Chikumi kunsi chikumi kuguru. You're not saying, oh, after some time God will take us to heaven. My friend, I have to enjoy everything. Everything here on earth. Hey. So that when I go to heaven, it is another good. Pate ye yongera yobwe yongezi. Ne kati mvano mubuyinike. And God says to his blessings, he does not add sorrow. So that means he cannot give you a flourishing marriage and then he gives you a blank pocket. No. That means you're not living in the will of God. Yeah? Tebigata. Katuweba tebigata buwaya katubusembeze. Bugate. So my purpose is to create wholesome human beings. Okay? Ones that will praise God and their generations after them will praise God and say, look what the Lord has done. Sikwevu manogamba naye mama wafo waya ali kuchiba nange. Naye mfecho kugula kataka yali mukugula magomesi. Mfecho kukola chi, yeah? So wholesome living. So I want you to find your own purpose. Like, why are you on earth? Why? Why? Sometimes some of us are building ourselves to be the best versions of ourselves for our children, not even for the whole world. And you're like, abana benakuwa. I don't want you to lose them. I need you to be the perfect example. For them to know that, by the way, there is something called hardworking, there is morals, there is loving God, there is serving God, there is living a wholesome life, and you're going to be an example. Some of us are not going to be public speakers, but how we live our lives are going to speak louder than what our mouth is going to speak. But that is also public speaking. When someone sees that you're ambitious, you're a go-getter, and they're a woman, bali mukusabiriza agamba, nangi muchala munangi. Mnandi gambi nti musajja yabikola, but if it's a woman doing it, I'm also going to do it. So, how have you affected them? Okay? So, public speaking does not start at the podium. Public speaking starts with how we live everyday life and how we embody what we have to say. These days they buy embodiment, they don't buy what you speak. The other days, back then, 10 years ago, we used to say, gende wasenga gundi akubulidide. Senga obufumbo bwa mulema. Akugamba omusajja tomweyalira n'omwebika. Kola ye bibye ku side. Nenga gye basindika abeera mu kazigo ke na kyeyombekedde. But like, it wasn't about embodying, it was about ani ayina ebigambo ebingi. So people would say, sengawe yamanyi obyogera ebyo. Sengawe. But these days, I will tell you, fathers will skip their own sisters okubulira abaana bawe ne babatwalira counselors and coaches. And they're like, if a coach is embodying this, a proper godly marriage, I want my child to have this. There's a certain mother who called me, the son is already married, and I was like, I want my child to enjoy marriage. Like, it seems like you're enjoying marriage. For them, it was that. Mukuba cheyo. Does not even follow as much. No. All I am following is, it seems like you're genuinely happy. I want my child to be genuinely happy. Can you help him? And I'm like, a session is 500,000. And a session is booked. And 10 more sessions are booked. You get it? So we have to be able to embody what we have to say. Okay? And then that means we don't have to ramble and ramble, because when you go back to the methodology and we don't have proper structure, do you know that we don't get to the point? You go in circles. Why? Because you don't know that, okay, after introducing myself, I'm going to the body, I am delivering this, and let me say I am giving, because in the structure you can say, I am giving each point, let me say, 3 minutes. Or I am giving the introduction 3 minutes, and I am giving these points maybe five minutes each, and maybe I'm going to deliver like 5 of them, and then I will give my intro maybe like 10 minutes. Okay, so that means everything that you say, the point, the example, the application, the story, everything has to be swallowed up in the 5 minutes. Because as a public speaker, you must be a best timekeeper. Teri bya kugamba omwoyo yanvuze nga ntwala tetwayise mwoyo twayise nakigudde nakigudde bwajja atuwe points ze aleme tugamba nti you know, so we want to be able, so this, what it helps you is you don't ramble and ramble and ramble. And here what we do is we outline when we are doing these points. We don't write paragraphs. Some of us write paragraphs. You write a whole page, you write a point, and then you write a whole page, ebigambo. And this is what happens. While you are there, Nabagambe, you can become short-sighted or you become long-sighted. Like suddenly, without any eye defect, okay? And then sometimes the tears can come. Bali bakuyiseko to speak, and all of a sudden, akainja nekakugwa mulizo. Otandika. Kakutande nga byogenda okwogera tobyekakasa bulungi. Awo n'amaziga nga oba balowooza nsomye nnyo. Kati amaziga nago gajja otandise. But now you can't read the bunyukuta that you wrote, but if you are just outlined, that is why I said it's very important that you understand what you're going to deliver. Because when you understand, you don't need to read paragraphs. It's just an outline. Some of you can put an outline. No jisoma no gambo beno yabadde gamba. No gamba method. No gamba method. No mana no gamba. Let's go to the 4th one. You go to the 4th one. Nayenga bakulabo yiya over yiya left, right and center. Nenga byo yogera tebikwatagana. Why? Tewabitegedde. Because even when you read something, by the way, and you find that they have given you clean points, there are some times when you will Google something and it will look so nice. Never copy word for word that they are giving you. Okay? Translate them into what you understand and the application of that you understand. Because it's possible the other person used significance. Ogenda okusoma ekigambo significance nga tolaba bwe kigatta. Choka bwabadde okisoma because you wabadde mu mirembe gyo kyabadde kigatta. But right now kiganya okugatta significance agirawa atya wano. So bw'okisoma n'okitegeera, translate it in a way that you understand it and the examples that you understand. Banange, lives have to change. We can't live things like that. Okay? So I wanted to give you this brief one, but I still want to talk about authenticity. Okay? Because authenticity is what drives engagement. Okay? Authenticity is what drives engagement. Not too much English. The reason as to why you will be, for example, and this I have faced, when you will face it when you start being everywhere, you know, speaking multiple times and you have a team. Now, my team knows there are places I will go to and you see the people that are around. Nga clearly, what's going to help them is when you throw in your personal story in the spin. But remember, you have said your story 1,000 times. Like, you even feel people are tired. I will tell you the truth. People are never tired of hearing your story. Even if they hear it 1,000 times. You know? So there are times I will move with my team, and I know, Kati, twist, if I really want to help them, I have to throw in a story that I've told so many times. Definitely, my team has had this story so many times. I have had this story. I am tired of telling it, but I know this is what is going to help. And all of a sudden, by the time you're leaving, my life is changed. That story, my life is changed. And you're like, so now you realize that we speak different parts of the world. Not everywhere we speak that everyone has heard about you. So get over yourself. Don't think that you are the most known person. Get over yourself. Gwe kastori oyinza okwogerako omulundi gumu n'ogamba ko nakoogera yogera dda. Mukwano tetukawulirangako, tetukamanyi, ate delivery yakuluno eyinza okuba endala ne kuyaluli gye wakola ki gye wakola. So never shy away from being authentic, okay? Being you and showing up in the power of your authenticness, okay? And then speak to give. Speak to give. Don't speak to take. Waliwo omuntu ajja okwogera nti hangenda balagako naze, you know, nga naawe okyewulira kyogenda okwogera. Amalala gamanyi okujja, by the way. Yeah, gamanyi okujja. Noyingirawo nti abamu, you know, waguza olugoye lupya ngatto mpya, olabiseeko, wakoze ka makeup akali exception okubadde tokola bulijjo, you know, n'entambula ekyuka, by the way. Oba oyingira hall obwetyo wanga amaaso gonna gali ku ggwe, olina engeri gy'otambulamu ng'owulira amaanyi mangi. Okikubye nga tonabakola ki? Okikuba. What humbles me the most is the people be nandiyagadde okweyagalirako balina ebizibu byabwe. Some of them yaguze obutwa yabuleseeyo eka n'agamba kaŋŋende ndabe ki kye bagenda okukolayo. You get it? Kati bwe mba njagala kulagako ekiteeteeyi ekipya kikugasa? Bwe mba njagala kulagako nti njogera oluzungu lungi lukugasa? So the best thing for me is to be humble and let God use me as a vessel. To speak through me, to not even trust my understanding, not even trust my notes, and just follow and just allow for God to use me and guide me in what He wants me to actually say. So we don't do it for us. Oh, kangende balabe kino, kangende balabe kiri, tewali yazze kulaba. Abamu ku bo babakubye ekiro ekimu. Abamu bagamba ebintu biganye bigootanye. Oh, they are looking for solutions. They are hungry. And all you want to come and show something. So we are there to give. We speak to give. And to give life. And you cannot give life ngo waganya debwoti, ngo nama wagali, and you feel you are the greatest person. You're like nayambadde akasuti ka pinki kamandabi. Nga noli bwakuba ekifaananyi bw'olaba owa kamera oyagala kumwenyamuko bwoti ng'okutte microphone nga kino tekivaayo bubi. Tebajiridde gwe look ugly, or whether you spit, whether you otabuka, whether you, and when you learn the power of authenticity, there will be the highs and the lows of that speech that will be so beautiful, instead of having the same intonation because you want to speak good English so that they can hear me and so that they can know, because I want them to know that this life is good. We are living a good lifestyle. No one is there for that. That's why olumu obatunuulira and you're like bano bamanyi ebyokola naye tebabikola, and you're like foolish Galatians who bewitched you, and yakuloga ekyokola tokimanyi nti nkimanyi lwaki tokikolanga mwekwasa emizimu gy'abajjajja bamwe mwesimanyi senga yankunamira simanyi biki. You get it? And all of a sudden omutaddemu sense ogipampinzemu addayo n'ateebaka agamba naye ekituufu kyennyini kyekiŋŋaanyi kyekyantuukako. Ogenda okulaba ng'omuntu asunguwadde, ogenda okulaba omuntu after 5 years n'agamba that day you came to our church, that was my wake up call. You get it? Yes. But if I had gone to be all nice and corporate, oba corporate we nawe bukola ki? We bukoma nabagambe we are in a war zone. Kununula myoyo, to help people. And not to help them, but to help their descendants. They are the generations. So, Coach Patricia, as you're talking to business people and these women at Next Girl, just know you're not just saving this generation, you're saving up to the 4th generation. Nti omuntu ono alibaakawo that's what I want. Abaana bange bantimbeko mu ddiiro lyabwe dinene nga ne basayiningako ne autographs ne bagamba nti ono jjajja ono ye yatandikawo omulembe obuteekkiriranya. You know, she was never complacent. So speak to give, okay? And then situational awareness. Situational awareness. They have invited you to a place to speak and you thought it was going to be a classroom setting, but all of a sudden it is a round table. Or if it's not a round table, it's actually a party. Believe ze kuba party. Gwe bakuyise ojja oyogere bo bagende bakube party. Kakati otandise obanyumiza ebitanyuma. Olwokuba gwe je wakwatira ebikwate byo, you know, you must deliver them according to intro, according to body, according to what. Now you're bringing your points, your stories, kati there are certain places where we'll go n'otuukira mu story. Direct. Nga tewetaga na introduction, tewetaga ki, bajja kubuuza luvannyuma naye yayogedde bamuyitaani. Nga nabo kibasigaddemu. Naye ng'okimanyi babadde mupate mood, bambadde bakubye obuntu bwabwe, balaba obalemesa. Soda waabwe awola, emyenge gyabwe giwola. Gw'oli wano onyumya point number 1. Nga ani agiwulira. Emitwe gyabwe giri ku bikukujju. Owoza point number 1. So, situational awareness. Be flexible. That when you go to a place, you study the environment, you discern the environment. Sometimes, by the way, you will discern resistance. Ntikati when to say it's a male-dominated environment, when they look at a woman, bamlabanga ataina chigasa, and you're like, kati nkuba andala. Kati mama gwe balegera side yemu. The preparation, ate research, ate nalese research wange, ate waliwo ne wojogena ne PowerPoint n'ogamba PowerPoint wano tegenda kukolawo. You get it? Situational. Bakuleetedde ayagala okwetuga nga gwogamba let me probe you. Mu session. Ngogamba kankole obutools bwonna bwe bandaga obwa coaching bwonna. Mbu mukoleko wano obukolomooni. Nga kyayagala is tuukira ku nsonga nze nabadde njagala kwetuga kakati yogera byoyogera mangu nze mission yange nkyagiriko. You get it? How are you able to turn their minds around? By being authentic, by being aware of where you are, by being kumanya kiki ekifuga, you know? There are places I have gone and they are male-dominated. Ng'obalaba engeri gye batunulamu bwe bati balinga abagamba byonna byeyogera tebiri mu magezi byonna byagenda okwogera ye agenda kwogera biki. And then you start to speak and then they all loosen up ne babeera nga baluuni eziweddemu omukazi. Like clearly you can see that kati ekitimba bakiyingidde. Bagamba nti kati muyingidde kakati kambasa buli bulungi. And by the way, whatever you prepared to speak, maybe you have not even spoken. But whatever you came to speak, that is why your preparation should not be the fidgeting of, I am going to speak, so let me prepare. Prepare even when there is nothing you're going to say anywhere. Have your notebooks, prepare, think about things, read about things, pray about things. That is how God can change your message to a message that fits that location. Why? Because you prepared it prior. You don't prepare because I am going to deliver now, I must prepare. Some of us are, me, I'm a last-minute person. You're not going to change anyone's life. Because you will come go preparing the event to be before a job will be delivering. You misfire and you're gone. Okay? And then have the audacity. The audacity. Okay? That is authenticity, situational awareness, speaking to give, and the audacity. The audacity. You know how we usually say, but how dare he? He had the audacity. As in, don't come like, bakuyise bakukoledde favor kwita. No. They didn't do a favor. You were supposed to be there at that time. That is the level of power and authority that you possess. That when you speak, everyone is going to keep quiet. That when you speak, they are going to listen. And even if you speak the same words that they have heard 1,000 times, those words are still going to make a difference. The difference between people who make a difference and those that don't make a difference, by the way, is the people that believe in their own words. When I say words that I believe and I'm like, oh, genda kuba bulungi. Ekyo kikumala okuba obulungi. And some people I tell nga gwe sikweralikirira. Ogenda kuba bulungi. And but how can you say this? And then after some time when they figure it out and everything is okay, but how did you trust me to know that I would figure it out? I looked at your spirit. I looked at the level of resilience. That if you were still alive by the time we were speaking, you would still make it. You get it? So sometimes we make people believe in themselves because we have chosen to believe in them. And that's what we must do. You must not be the judge of oyo mulaba ali slow, oyo mulaba tagenda chimaking, oyo mulaba, because you hold the power to change people's trajectories and people's destinies. That is how powerful you are as a speaker. Otherwise, God would never have entrusted you with this gift of speaking. He would have let you be mute. You remember when he made, who did he make mute? Nga agenda kwogera, ate simanyi twafunye olubuto, ate tugenda kuzaala, ate biki, Zakaria. Nagamba ono katumujjeko ekyokwogera. Asooka asirikeko. But if God has given you, you have so much power. And to some of you that are parents, your speaking even starts with your home, your family, your children. Okay? Not just out there and everything else that you are planning. Some of the don'ts that you must be able to avoid, okay? We talked about the rambling. Please be organized and concise. Tukira kunsonga, we are too busy. Don't ramble. Don't go around and beat around the bush. Okay? Yes. The other thing you must not do is bad eye contact. Some of us, we have bad eye contact. Bakugamba bobo yogera, look over their heads like this. So liawo yogera gwotunudde bwot. People need to know that you're seeing them. Do you know how exciting it is when you look at color yellow, when you look at the baby pink, and you look at the... There's a way it lightens you up, eh? It sparks your creativity as a speaker, instead of saying, that means you lack confidence. So if you lack confidence, what are you saying? Tolina, okay? So be direct. If you're looking at someone, look at someone, make a point, look at another person, make a point, look at another person, make a point, okay? But make sure that your eyes are moving within. That is why you can see speakers, speakers these days that have learned to speak on podiums without audiences, but they're speaking on a very big podium. And then everyone on YouTube is saying, but there is no audience. Why? Because even the way they speak, body language does not lie. It can tell that there is no one in the room. Okay? And then the other thing is cluttered notes. Please don't have cluttered notes. Eh? Make life simple for yourself. Ngawe tugambye pointers. That is enough. You don't have to have paragraphs and paragraphs, but you call it and you're like, even this one, let me not miss it. Even this one, when I'm explaining, at least it will remind me. And then some of us have a habit of writing between lines. Eh? You don't write in a proper line, but you write in one line. No futika obuntu nga busatu. Toyagala bwera bira. Nga bwe nkugambye, you're going to become long-sighted or short-sighted, and you're not going to read between the lines, so you're wasting your time, okay? And then the other thing you shouldn't do are the complex slides. Some of us are like them, that, you know, the modern slides are the ones that things are popping up like this, and then another one is popping up like this, and then another is popping up from underneath here, and everyone is saying, wow, now those slides are really modern. Wow, there is no modern slide. There is no modern slide, even if you have a static word, nga chetimbi wali chirichiti. Oli bwaba wakufuna mwaja kola chi? Ajakufunamu. Nebo bato ina slide going, you are to transform someone's life, they will still be transformed. So don't have dramatic slides. Eh? And then don't fidget. Your hands, you're holding your dress, and then you're like, take kakati, nze kakati, kakati eshitete shidayamba de chinda golu buto, wabado chambala chi, ochiwa chambali dechi. Wavudde kango chimanyi chikula golu buto. Kati oli wano, you're fidgeting. Bochisikako bwoti, bochiwanvu yako bwoti. Bagamba omukazi asikachi. You know, wayambadde akapati ko ng'okimanyi. Kati oyagala all of a sudden kagejje okasika. You know, don't fidget. Even the placement of your hands, we can tell that by the way you're fidgeting. Shekako mu bbanga bwoti. Nomala nogikwatirako wano bwoti. Nomala nogissaako bwoti. Oba tulagawa. You know. So don't fidget. Be confident and have a good posture. Have a good posture. Some of us, or yimirira, has someone ever had sensitive teeth?
Yes.
Has someone ever had sensitive teeth? Waliwo badeka onewebuza naye kati bulijjo olulimi ndutuuza ntya ku mannyo gano. I don't know if some of you chali kibatuuseeko. Nkirabika kyatuuka ku nze nzekka. There's a time I had sensitive teeth. I think there's a certain type of orbit gwe nagaya. And it was a long journey. So, nemugaya for a long time. These days I learned orbit kasta akawomere kasta kagwamu bwe kati out. But like, so I'll be like, some of you are you guys should thank God you've never had teeth sensitivity. I'll be like, bulijjo nduwumuza wansi bwenti. Oba bulijjo ndukwatira mu bbanga. And I'm like, I don't know which is which. Kati some of us n'amagulu bulijjo oyimirira bulungi. Naye ku luno oyimirira ng'omulema. Okumuno okuwanvu yakukunaako. Oba bw'oyimirira n'ogakola bw'oti. So guys, don't fidget, okay? Nafe abatunula tuli bantu. You get it? We nafe tetutuukiridde. Jangu ng'oyambadde and then learn to be comfortable. If you know that high heels are not your thing, please don't do them. If you know that medium heels or even kitten heels or what are they called? These ones? Wedges. If it is a sneaker, yambala sneaker ku kiteeteeyo olabikeeko oyogere nga naye ng'oli free. Tuba tukulaba. Kwa bw'otabeera free oba otuyana oba tebitegeerekeka. Otambula weegendereza ate oluso oluzinze balance olinga agenda okugwa naffe otweraliikiriza. Saagala kweraliikirira era bwe ndaba sipiika nga yeeraliikiriza nga nfuluma ayinza okugwira awo. Saagala muntu agwe nga mulaba. By the way, when you're even fidgeting about the words that you're speaking, amba mukama zaako ki? Bwe ndaba nga kimbuze kyazzaako nga nsooka nteekamuko bu earpiece nga basibiwulire ebiddako kuba biyinza obutaba birungi. That is how, by the way, abantu batufiiringirako. So while you're speaking, everyone is there ku bunkenke abamu. So totuteeka ku bunkenke. Wataddeko akaviiriko naye bw'onyweza wiigi bw'ogisika. Beera ne wiigi z'omanyi nti eno ku mukolo egenda nti wano ku speaking engagement ekola ki eyita. Oba amanyi nti epeewa egifuuwa. Jifeko, like seriously. Ate abamu kufe, by the way, stop doing fast things on the day when you have to a speaking engagement. Obadde toyambala toteekako makeup all of a sudden. Wafuusa akasodde. Wena nojja nga face eringa bbumba. Ye kuteeti. Nga n'okuseka tosobola. Wakoze makeup obukowekowe butunula eriwe buti. Ojja teweekakasa ogamba oba ndabika ntya oba bagamba I have overdone oba bagamba don't do something if it's not like don't do the fasts nti guno omukolo kati kiringa abantu abakola fast things ku mukolo gwabwe. Guno gwe ngendo soko kikola yaterese engatto zazambale ku mukolo gwe. Nze nayiga sitereka ngatto kujambala ku mukolo. Yambalamu ekigere ne kigimanyiira ne ku mukolo ne njambala ate engatto yange munaŋŋaano jambala. Oyambadde ekiteeteeyi wakakigula tokyambalangako kyokka buli w'otambula bw'ekiti nga kigwa ku mubiri bw'ekiti. Omanye ebiteeteeyi ebyo ng'omubiri gulinga oguliko magnet gubitsika bwe guti. Waguze ekiteeteeyi kyo kipya bulijjo okirabirako awo kuhanga kati bayikuyise ku mukolo ogamba kino kyengenda okwambala. Bw'oba tokyambalangako don't waste your time. Because it's going to kill your vibe. Ogenda kutandika kukisikasika bw'ekiti kyokka kinene naye kikwatira ku mubiri. Ate ennaku zino abantu tebakyayambala half pet. Luli abantu bayambalanga half pet ng'ebintu wakiri bigwa ne bikola ki. Naye ennaku zino mulina bubayika ate obumu buchina bulingo bulimu magnet. Busika engoye. Have you seen those bikers that pull clothes like this? Oyambadde skirt naye kwetipyeko and you're like yee. Gwe bike tewagitegedde nti eriko ebizibu oba material yabadde empya. So don't do fast nti katikana kalviri nkasibidde mukolo. Oyinza okusiba penso ne wetunira mu ndabirwamu. Nze nasumululako penso ekiro ekyo gye nagisiba. Bansibya akaviiri nkasasulidde ssente omutwe gufaananya omupiira. I'm like, no, sina jengenda. Chirecho, onviri ozikola chi? Nozijjayo. Mutwe mwetolovu bwe guti. Era pencil simuddiranga. Now it's my enemy. Okay? The other thing you should avoid is being too soft. Okay? And then the filler words. You know, kakati, you know, bakugambye you speak in a feminine voice. As a public speaker, you don't speak in a soft voice. Kubango bwa matetujja buulira. Have a confident, loud voice that people can hear. And be well acquainted with what you're going to talk about, that you don't need too many filler words. Eh? Bulika said, filler words. Do you understand? Do you understand? Eh? And then, you know, you see, that means your brain is not working as fast as your mouth. Filler. The words to fill into okujuliriza obudde. Okay? That means you're either fearful, nervous, or the language itself, tomanyi ins and outs, or you just didn't prepare well. So you're not well conversant with what you are saying. But even the people that are well conversant with what they're saying, do you know there are people who copy filler words? Because you've been listening to someone who uses filler words so many times, now you also start ontegede, and then and so yes, so yeah, so you get, so ogedokla ochikopye now otandise ochogera like Ariel, my son. But why aren't you going to bed? But of course I'm not yet tired. But of course became a part of his. Why? Because our Askari at home says it a lot. So every time he would say, but of course. So I think because he had a language delay. So for him, I think everything he had was the right thing. Everything an adult spoke was the right thing. So now, up to now, we have not figured out how to take but of course out of his. Of course, I keep correcting him whenever he says something, but I'm like, but what are you saying? Why are you saying but of course? And then, but of course, I was telling you. And I'm like, but you go to bed. But of course, I still wanted to watch TV. I'm like, God, how am I going to deal with this word? Okay, so sometimes we copy because omuntu ayogera wali omusamu ekitiibwa oyagala byakola, so you start copying ngoloza mulembe si mulembe. You know, they are just filler words. When you come to radio training and TV, we tell you to multitask. Until half the time, for example, you can be on TV. When I was a TV host, you have the producer is in your ear, you have the person that you're hosting, the camera person is looking at you, they are counting down for you, so you are listening to everyone, and you must coordinate everything and still say the right words, the way they are supposed to be. And you have a kalango akokusoma, and you, like, literally, everyone is saying something, and then you have messages to read at the end of the day, callers to pick, so there is like 10 things that you must figure out. The people on radio, you have a console. That means the Blango are coming in to be broadcast. You have to choose the music, the playlist, and then you have to know when to take up the faders, and then you have to know when to put the bed, and then to balance it with the voices, and then you must sound like you're not doing any of those. You must sound like you are just chilling and speaking, and you're not doing anything. So that means your mind must be fast to be able to catch up with your words. Okay? That you do not just say anything. That's why people, you've had radio presenters. Kakati twade tuchagenda masa awongo okola chingoma nyali mu mpapula za mawulire. Kakati munange ogundi oli gwe twakoze echi ngomanya. Aina kyasoma oba ina kyakola ki kyanoonya. So, but in order to kill that, because no one wants that. If I hear that, apart from the general public, some of them can be patient, but if I hear that as a person that have been in media and I have trained media for the past 20 and something years, that bores me. I'm off to the next radio. Okay? So even these days we have so many things. While you are speaking at the podium, I have TikTok on standby in my hands. Nalabye kakanyumira nenkapozinga nenkuwako ku budde. Kakati gwe wenunule. Oli awo yogera ebitakwatagana nga nzira yokko. Wanji, yes, wenunule, because nja kudda wano ate newe kutabako volume kati kuliko ebigambo. nga bwensoma bwenseka mwenkola it's even more exciting. So can you be able to multitask and still be on top of your A game and still deliver and still look nice and still look sharp and still sound informed and still sound spiritual and still deliver transformation? All those are on one person. If you can't multitask all those things, otema olutaboti nga looking beautiful naye nga bo delivering a points. Wanje? Some of you are like naye bannange bino tugenda kola byaki. No. Just don't use the filler words, avoid them, train yourself. For the people that have radio personnels and TV personnels that have gone through my hands, most of them come with those filler words. It's automatic. And some of them, before we even take you on air, because for one program, maybe we will be training 4 people. Nenga, there is only one place. Yeah. So now you realize that if you can't cut away the filler words, that is one of the points as to why you're being left behind. Yeah? So make sure that you, because it's quite boring. The moment I see you filling up the words, that means I'm not so sure what you are going to talk about. All right, I want us to stop here for today. I wanted to create this foundation for us so that when I give the assignment for next week, we can tell you your filler words. We can tell you, because we are going to have different topics for different, because we all have different niches. You must have knowledge outside of your jurisdiction and your niche. You cannot just say, for me relationships. Kastontwala mubidala. Sibisobola naye relationships. That means you are not versatile. We must be versatile as speakers. So some of the topics I will give them beforehand, but some of them I need you to be able to be, thinking, chap, I will give it to you while you are here. It's possible I will give you a topic, but when you come here, I tell you to do another topic. I need you to come up with different 5 points in that moment. While I give you a topic and you come up with the points and you come up with the stories and you come up with the, the presentation, so that you can learn to actually think from scratch instead of saying, kankole winter, kankube winter wanu. Nzijenga nchetegese. So I want us to do that, but I'll stop here for today.